Hi, Mrs. Perlstein here again, and we are going to look at an example of how to find the other 5 trig ratios when one trig ratio is given. And for right now, we are going to assume that the angle theta is a first quadrant angle, so it's less than 90 and greater than or equal to 0 degrees. And we'll talk about that more later, but we're just going to make sure that all of our trig ratios end up being positive in this case. All right, so let's say I'm given that the cosine of some angle theta is equal to 3/5. Now I'm going to use really easy numbers just so that you understand the process and don't get bogged down in the numerical part, but understand that all you have to do is go to your calculator to find some of the missing sides and then write it as a square root if it does not simplify down. So I'm just going to draw a right triangle, and here's my angle theta. Here's my right angle. So we know this is the hypotenuse. Relative to this angle, this is the side that's opposite, and this side down here is the adjacent side. And we're given that the cosine of some angle is the ratio of 3 to 5, which tells us that the ratio of the side adjacent over the hypotenuse is 3 to 5. So we're going to let the adjacent side be equal to 3, and the hypotenuse is going to be equal to 5. So we're looking for the opposite side before we can find all of the other ones. So notice what we have is a right triangle. We know the hypotenuse, we know the adjacent side, we don't know this side. What we have to do again is use the Pythagorean theorem to find that missing side first. So we know the hypotenuse is 5, so we have 5 squared. And the adjacent side is 3, so that's 3 squared. And the opposite side, we're just going to call that b. That is equal to b squared, and we don't know what that is. So our goal is to figure out what b is. So we're going to do 25 when you square 5 is equal to 9 plus b squared. In order to figure out what b is, I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, and I get 16 is equal to b squared. And when I take the square root of both sides and know that this is the side of a right triangle, so it can only be positive, the length of that missing side is b. And so now that we know that b is 4, we can go through and find all 6 of our trig ratios. The side of an angle is opposite over hypotenuse. The cosine of an angle is adjacent over hypotenuse. The tangent of an angle is opposite over adjacent. The cosecant of an angle is just the reciprocal of sine, so that's 5/4. The secant of an angle is the reciprocal of the cosine, so that's 5/3. And the cotangent of an angle is the reciprocal of the tangent, so that's 3/4. So this is a process of finding 5 of the other trig ratios when one is given. And notice, I didn't really have to find cosine because that was given to me.